Hi guys, all right, let's get this right out of the way. First of all, I did not go to a craft fair, which I believe is what I'm going to title this video to kind of rope you in and come check this out. What I did was go to a gun show with firearms related crafty kind of items, really nice high-end woodworking stuff that is related to the gun crowd. This is the 4th year doing it. I did it 4 years ago for the first time, trying to see if it was something that was even worth doing. And 4 years in, obviously it was. So let's go ahead and look at some of the stuff that I build to take along to these things, and then we'll go over what I've learned about it over the last 4 years. All right, guys, right now I am working on this right here. This is I call it a quick loader. It is for loading ammunition into a magazine, an AR style magazine. And it's fast and it's easy. It saves wear and tear on your thumbs. You dump a bunch of bullets in here, you line them up in here, points, bullets up, hit your magazine right here, and then you grab a pusher block and you just shove it in, and they all just go sliding into that magazine really fast. It's really slick. This one's actually out of hackberry. It's about 90% finished. This one just got lasered, so I need to sand that off and refine it just a little bit. Here you can see I've been making the base. So if you couldn't tell, this is actually out of 2 layers of 3/4 inch plywood. You carve out one. This is the bottom, magazine well handle and profile. And then let's see, here we have a top. There's a top right there out of MDF. So this is actually carved upside down. It's got all the geometry in it that it needs. And then this will end up getting glued down to a base like that. And then it ends up looking like this. And I laser the bottom before I glue it together, and then I laser the top after I glue it together, and I'm kind of still refining my process for making this go fast, but it works pretty well. Here's all the bases. These are done. That is the whole stack of tops that need to get put in there. I've done a little bit of testing here, and the reason being, the last time I made these I was using a different software. This is VCarve Pro. It's a more powerful software. It gives me a lot more ability to refine some of this stuff and make it go a little bit faster. Really, it just gives me the ability to have control over what it's carving, when it's carving, directions, and then the cleanup pass makes it so I have to do less sanding at the end of it. But anyway, this is all of the different parts of that. So if I sit here, you can click, there's the outside profile, there's the handle. This is clearance for bullets. This is clearance for bases of a cartridge. This is the base of the pusher block. That's the top of the pusher block. And all of those over here are actually in different layers. They cut out with the same, I'm using the Jenny bit, they cut out the same, but there's reasons to have them all different. They're all at different depths. That's kind of the big thing, they're all at different depths. So anyway, I've come through here, I've got it all set up. Let's see, we'll preview all. That was really too fast. Let's see, reset, slow it down a little. Preview all. There, that kind of makes a little bit more sense of what it's going to do. Do that, do that, do that, and then it's going to cut out the profile, and it'll do that in about 4 steps, maybe 5 steps, I don't remember, and then on the last pass, it bumps in about 0.01 to get rid of all of those layer lines of cutting it out in that many passes. But anyway, I've already got this loaded into, let's see here, load file. Loader base, top. If I do that, it'll show us what that picture looks like. So that's the right one. We'll come over here and run it in just a second. I just finished running a base out of here, and I like to take my air hose and clean this. That way, hook that back up down there. That way, when I take my blank and shove it back into that corner, there is no debris between this and that fence. This is locked in there really, really tight. And then I can push this up against that, lock that in there. I need to build a longer one of these because I can't quite reach all the way to that one with this, but I have a spacer block ready to go. Push that over all the way, pull it tight. So there is nothing about this bit. This is a compression bit, but there's nothing that I'm doing here that's lifting up on this workpiece at all. It is downward pressure and sideways pressure. So if I have it captured on all 4 sides like this, it doesn't go anywhere. Trust me, I've done enough of them to trust this. So we get this locked in. I'm gonna need a second hand to actually do this. I gotta put a little bit of pressure on this. and we'll run it, and we'll do one last test in the MDF to make sure it's really, really going right. And then I'll run through this whole pile of boards here. And I sat here and looked at all of these. There's a few imperfections in some of them. I need to put these in to the machine in the right orientation to make sure that some of those imperfections aren't going to be a problem. So if you look at it, I set it up so that this is the top face. That is what I want to see when we're all done here. But what I need to do is when I put it in, it actually goes in like this. So this whole stack is going to come off, flip over, and get put in there. And that way you can see this right here. That actually gets, I don't know, hidden when it gets glued back down when it's all done. So like this piece right here ends up just being, that ugly knot just kind of ends up floating out here in the top, and it won't be a big deal. So anyway, let's get this thing started. All right, guys, the show starts tomorrow morning. I need to go set up tonight, and I'm putting the finishing touches on everything today. I think I stopped talking at the camera because I was getting kind of busy and a little bit behind, but let's take a look here quick. I have a whole pile of the loader boards and the pusher blocks ready to go. All of these have their magnets in them. So that's a nice bonus feature, but I should have plenty of these. This is almost twice as many as I've ever had at one of these shows, and I've sold out every year. So let's hope I sell out on this one, because that would be great if I could sell out again. 2 years ago, the #1 requested thing I had was a loader board for 762 as opposed to just 223. So I developed it and I made it, and I think I sold 2. So I didn't make any extra this year. I have 5 ready to go for that. This right here is actually something my uncle kind of quick built and designed, and I made a few of them myself to try to sell at this. It's just a little pistol display stand thing. All you do is slide, this is actually an old carbon arrow shaft. You just slide the barrel down onto that thing and it sits here and looks all nice. And depending on what you have, a short barrel, you'd end up having it in the top hole because the grip to muzzle distance is different here. So if you have like a long barreled revolver or something, you'd want to switch it down there so that it sits level. You want it to have this point of contact and this point of contact. I have not tried to sell these before. We'll see how those do. I'm hoping they're going to be popular. I've only got 8 of them, so if I sell out of that, that's pretty telling too. And they're really simple to make, so I don't have to charge much for them to make it worth my time. I did make one interesting one here. This one, I had a, whoops, got some leather up there. I had an interesting piece of wood here that I put a couple of 9mm pieces of brass in. So if you've got a 9mm, that'll be perfect for you. There's my M1 Garand that I made just to display these gun vices with. So that's out of walnut and it's a wall hanger. I've had the same guy every year try to buy that from me, and I give him a price and he wants me to be less. And every year he goes, "You gonna take less?" And every year I say, "Nope, same price. I'd rather keep it as my display than sell it to him for what he wants." But anyway, check out the gun display rest. That is one of the most labor-intensive things that I do, but it's also been very popular and it's very cool. I always look for a base that has some really nice, crazy wood to it. Nice leather padding on all of the points of contact if you have a rifle in there. This is actually something my dad designed. He built for himself and his brothers a long time ago, and then he built one for me and my brother. And now I'm taking his design and trying to sell some of them. What's really cool about it is when you look at it, you can't see any hardware. The hardware that makes these wings open and close is all buried inside here. Really cool design on his part. All right, guys, the show has already happened. It was this past weekend. I was planning on doing a little bit of filming while I was there, see if I could get somebody to hold a camera and show me interacting with some of my products and some of the customers and stuff. And it was just so busy that I didn't have time for that. So we're just going to skip straight to the aftermath. Actually, I took one picture the whole time. Here you go. Take a look at that. That's all you get of the actual show. Real quick, let me show you some of the things that I take along. You saw building some of the stuff. We'll get more into that. This was my coolest item from last year. I designed and built this thing. It just kind of looks like a floating bookshelf. But when you push this button, boop, secret compartment drops out the back. I call it a concealment cabinet. There's all sorts of different versions of this sort of thing out there, but there are very few electric automated ones that have such a cool presentation as that. So I take this along. It really catches people's attention. It brings them to the booth. It makes them listen to me. This is the one that I actually took along. I didn't bring the bookshelf one this year. I brought the fancy one only. Same thing, that has a thing that drops out the bottom, but you can't tell that that's in there until you push the button. I also take a little bit of, try to sell artwork a little bit. This has never been popular at this show. I've sold one of these pheasant prints and the other things that I've done. A couple of different bottle openers. This is like the attempt to get like the people who might want something without wanting to spend a lot of money. I think I charge like $8 for those things, and I sell a couple every year. It just gets somebody to look at your stuff, get something in their hands. I've also got just a few of these left. This is a stock that I got from a firearm company that was changing their design. So they were throwing all these in the dumpster. So I rescued all of them and turned them into lamps. And I think I've only got 2 of them left now, but those have gone pretty well too. Let me think. Oh, these are those pistol stands. You saw me talking about these earlier, building these earlier, whatever. I think I sold 3 of them. So that was actually pretty good. 3 out of 8 got sold. But anyway, I'm going to set you in a tripod and do just a little bit of musing here. So like I said, this is my 4th year at this show, and I've learned a lot over the last few years. I'll just say right now, this one was awful. Attendance was way up. In fact, the last few years, it's a Saturday, Sunday show, and Sunday afternoon for 2 years in a row, a blizzard blew in so that by noon on the first day, the place was dead. Everybody was there like crazy up until noon, and then they all disappeared, and then that blizzard kind of made it so nobody came on Sunday either. That being said, every year I have had a better and a better and a better sale, better turnout. It's been great for 3 years. This year was a flop, and I don't know why. These loader boards have been my most popular item, and every year I sell out of them, so every year I make more, and then I sell out of them again. Last year, I sold 15 of these by noon the first day, and I ended up selling my display board that I'd been beating on for 3 years because somebody had to have it so much. So I made 25 of them this year to make sure I had plenty, and I sold 5. Not great. And I started to think, well, maybe I cornered the market. Maybe everybody there has already got one. Maybe that's why I'm not selling them. Well, I was paying attention. 9 out of 10 people who I showed this to had never seen such a thing before. They were very impressed, but didn't decide to buy one. So I haven't cornered the market on it yet. It's not flooded. It just is what it is. This thing, gun vise, everybody looks at it. Everybody's like, man, that is gorgeous. That is very nice. That's the craftsmanship, whatever. They say nice things. There's a lot of work that goes into this. It's not so much a material thing. It is a time and effort thing. And when you look at this versus the plasticky, commercially available ones you can buy on Amazon for almost nothing, a lot of people look at it and go, I'm going to buy the cheap one. And I understand that. This one's just much, much nicer than those. And I do have a few people come through and go, I understand why that's awesome, and they buy these. So I made 6 of them for this year because I sold 3 last year. I sold out of them, and I had 2 to 3 people come after the fact say, "Oh, are they all gone? I was going to take one." So I made sure to have extra. Didn't sell a single one of these this year. To take a step back, the first year that I did this was the first year that I owned a laser engraver. And so I went all in on hats and tumblers with silly, hunting related, firearms related engravings on them, whatever. I sold out of mugs and mostly sold out of hats. Everybody had to have, it's those stainless steel tumblers that everybody has, Yeti style. I sold out of them. I thought, holy crap, this is it. I'm going to sell all of these. So I made, I don't know what it was. I forget the numbers exactly, but a lot more for the second year than I made for the first year. And I have sold 1 since. So if I sold 25 of them year 1, I have sold 1 in the next 3 years. Between the hats and the tumblers, those are dead in the water as far as I'm concerned. I won't make another one. I'll probably continue to bring the inventory that I have along because it's already built. But, thinking on that for a bit, if you go in my kitchen right now, there's 2 or 3 tumblers that I've made with logos and stuff that I like for my family, but mostly we have a cabinet that is absolutely chock full of freebies with brand names and different things of companies that just give away these things. And I think that is why no one's buying mine anymore, because they have the same cabinet at home. They have way more of these, vacuum sealed double wall metal tumblers than they could possibly use. So I don't think that's a product I need to put any more time or any more effort into. And I've learned that lesson a long time ago. This, really nice. Always need to have this along. This, absolute best thing that I sell. But like I said, really bad year. And I think something's in the air, because I started talking to other vendors towards the end of the day when it was just really dead. They'd walk around to different booths and just kind of check up on you and go, how's your day going? Nobody was selling anything. They all said the same thing. It was as busy as it's ever been. Talked to everyone who walked by and didn't sell anything. Nobody was parting with their money. So I don't know what's going on out there right now that has people scared to spend, in my case, 70, 80, couple of hundred, whatever. Not a lot of money, but even the people who were there to buy guns weren't buying guns. The gun dealers were having a hard time moving materials. So just really interesting that I was, based on last year, where over the 2 days I made this shy of $2,000 at it. This year, after 2 days, I believe I made just shy of $600. So each year I made more, and then this year it just absolutely tanked. I'm going to go back again next year. Already paid for my booth. We're good to go. I think it was a fluke. I think there was something going on, politically, financially. I don't know. I don't pay attention to the world around me that much. So I think there was a reason people weren't spending money. I'm going to give it another try next year. If I have another bad year, then it's probably not worth doing again. But I'm also signing up for another brand new, completely never done before gun show about an hour from here in a different direction. Maybe I'll tap into a different market. Maybe things will be different there. So we'll see how this goes. I had my son sit with me for the second day, and he even noticed, he's only 11, and he noticed kind of how slow things were. And he was like, well, you sold that, that's great. And you sold that, that's great. And I was like, yeah, but let me talk you through the backside of this thing. I had to buy some materials. Most of the wood was already here, not a big deal, but like in this loader board, I've got magnets to hold the pusher block from getting lost. So there's a couple dollars in magnets. There's some money in leather, some money in hardware. There's the money for the booth. There's money for finish. I spent a bunch of money before we even got started. And then for the last month, this is mostly all I've been working on. For the last 2 weeks, it's absolutely all I've been working on to get enough of this product ready to go to the show. And when all was said and done, and you do what it cost me versus what I made, I figure for my time, I made less than $3 an hour to go to this show. That's not a livable wage. So disappointing for sure. educational, even if I haven't figured out what I've learned. I know I learned something, and I'll work that out by next year. And anyway, fun stuff to build, fun stuff to have. I have a couple of these for myself because I think they just are awesome. They look great. They're fun to display something on, to look at it, to work on it and clean it and whatever. Because I didn't sell out of stuff like I kind of hoped I'm going to have. These have always been on my website. If you're looking for a loader board, they're already on my website. I'm going to get the gun vices listed up there too. I think I have 6 of them still that are ready to go. So I will list all 6 of them on the website. And when they're gone, they're gone. I don't really try to keep an inventory of these things. So if you see anything here you want that's not on the website, get a hold of me. We'll see what we can do to get it out to you. Otherwise, go pick one of these up off the website. And what do you think of the concealment cabinet? I'll see if I can plug some more videos in here because I know I've taken some over the years. Really, really proud of that. I built that because I wanted one. I've always wanted something like that. And then somebody saw it and they said, hey, you should try to sell these. So that's why I took them to the show. Absolute showstopper. Everybody who saw it had this big, grin come across their face and like, that's cool. And they want to talk about it and how they can incorporate it into their house. The electronics in it are the expensive part. I've got almost $200 in electronics in it before we even get started. So that cabinet as it sits isn't cheap. And because of that, I've sold one. I've sold exactly one of those, and it was actually the bookshelf style, the cheaper, fewer bells and whistles style one. People are really, really interested. People take, I think I gave away 250, 300 business cards to people who said they're going to call me about getting one of them in their house. I did the same thing last year, and I only sold one. So we'll see how that goes. But I feel like I've said enough now. I'm getting tired. It's time to wrap this video up and get on to the next thing. So thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what you think. Leave some comments. Do the likes and subscribes and all that nonsense that I'm supposed to say once in a while, but I really don't like to. So thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.